And he kind of showed me like Yellow Submarine and a few other songs, the lyrics, you know. And so it's kind of simplistic, you know. But still I felt that the music, the structure of music, the form of music was a little bit too simplistic. The chords and, you know, the beat is always the same, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know. So, okay.
Yoko Ono's relationship with John Lennon is one of the most scrutinized and controversial in rock history, often casting a dark shadow over the Beatles' dramatic breakup. For decades, many have speculated that her unyielding control over Lennon's life and work led to increased friction among the band members, and Ono has been cited as a catalyst in the group's downfall. This not helped by her ongoing resentment and battles with other ex-Beatles after they had broken up, and many years after Lennon's murder in 1980. However, let's hear her side of the story in her very own words, as she recounts how she met John Lennon at the height of his fame, without much awareness of who the Beatles even were.
You were a Beatles fan before, or would you say you were a Lennon fan before?
Neither.
Neither.
But is it really true that you didn't know him and you didn't know the Beatles when you met?
Well, I heard about the Beatles as a social phenomenon, like I heard about Elvis Presley, but, you know, we were into jazz or something like that, you know, more jazz and classic, and Elvis Presley, Beatles coming after that was a phenomenon that was kind of in the distance.
Yes, I knew the Beatles as a social phenomenon, but I was into, well, I come from Sarah Lawrence and they were playing jazz and, you know, it was like that. So pop music, I wasn't really into it. And
when I was in Japan, in Tokyo, I saw a tiny article like this in a huge newspaper, like a tiny article. You're saying these mop top boys with the strange haircut are now getting very popular. I said, oh, that's interesting. But I mean, it was in passing. I didn't think anything of it, really. Yeah.
After Yoko Ono met Lennon in 1966, their relationship quickly evolved from a romantic one into a creative partnership. Ono, an avant-garde artist known for her experimental approach to art and music, contrasted sharply with the Beatles' mainstream pop sensibilities. Although you will hear she was enamored by the Beatles' far-reaching popularity, she pushed John Lennon to be more experimental and expand beyond the parameters of the group.
Yoko, the Beatles are a very tightly knit entity. I imagine it must have been very difficult at first when, you know, you were confronted with all four of them at the same time and really saw how tight and together they were, especially in a studio. Did it make you feel, you know, kind of alien at all?
I just didn't feel that so much in the beginning because, you know, I was just sort of, I didn't meet John as one of the Beatles, you know. I just met John as John, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I got all involved in our relationship. You know.
And together, we kind of exchanged musical recipes, you know, the secret recipes that we gained. And it was very strong, that was very powerful. And we were totally interested in that, you know. So it wasn't just sort of like, oh, let's hop into bed kind of relationship. It was, that was just by the way. And there was so much else that we shared.
I'm more involved and excited about what we're doing together. And I'm interested in John's work and my work, you know, or the work that we do together, you know, but not so much Beatles because, well, that's something else, you know.
When I met John, I felt, okay, here's this guy who's writing these songs. And he kind of showed me like Yellow Submarine and a few other songs, the lyrics, you know. I thought it was kind of simplistic, you know. But still I felt that the music, the structure of music, the form of music was a little bit too simplistic. The chords and, you know, the beat is always the same, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know. So, okay. I was starting to think, well, what is the power of it? Where is the power, you know? And of course, the obvious is that all four of them are kind of attractive people, etc., you know, on camera, and very tactful, extremely, I mean, you know that, you know, their public relation was like perfect, you know, that kind of thing. And these guys are kind of singing to the wide public, you know, and the songs are being played on radio and phonographs at home and all that, all over the world. And it's an incredible, powerful thing to do. Though maybe I suspected that they weren't that aware of what they were doing, but it was just a very powerful thing happening there, you know. And I really felt that it was an incredible kind of a message just coming through them. And they might not be really aware of the total impact, but it doesn't matter, you know. And so I kind of respected all that suddenly. It wasn't just on the level of, you know, a pop song, just to make people feel good music, you know.
Were you competitive with each other as artists?
No, that's the blessing. If I ever encountered John Lennon as a competitor, I'd been killed, okay? His energy would have killed me. No, the thing is, luckily, I was not known like John or anything like that. And I think that he liked my work, and also he felt protective about me because I was attacked so much from the world. But even before that, the fact that people didn't understand my work, etc. So there was that element of, oh, you know, he wanted to protect me. He wanted to nurture me in that sense, I suppose.
As John Lennon and Yoko Ono's creative thinking became increasingly intertwined, tensions mounted within the band. Ono's disruptive influence in the studio while the Beatles were recording caused conflict, and the Beatles soon broke up. In the press, Yoko was an easy scapegoat and was blamed for the group's seemingly sudden demise, as well as the bad blood that persisted in years to come. Some outlets even suggesting that Lennon was given an ultimatum to choose either the group or Yoko, and of course he chose Yoko.
Is it true that you were responsible of the split of the Beatles? Well, then I must be a very powerful woman. But I don't think that I should take such a credit.
But you didn't want to see the breakup of the Beatles, did you?
No, of course not.
So why were you blamed for that?
Well, I think I was a convenient target or a scapegoat.
For all that period when people were blaming you for the breakup of the Beatles?
Well, you know, I've been blamed, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 years now.
So you were aware of that going on? You were aware that's what people were saying?
I was fully aware of it because it was like they was jabbing me all the time.
And you were aware of that? I mean, that the press always saw you as the wedge that was driven in...
The witch.
And I can drive a wedge in 3 places or whatever, how many spaces there are between 4 people.
He writes in the book that you, in fact, helped him to perhaps divorce from the Beatles. True, not true?
Well, I don't know if you put it that way. I think that the Beatles, they were coming to a point where they wanted, all of them, each of them wanted to be independent. So it was a natural process. And maybe we were the catalyst, but still.
You've even been called the Dragon Lady, who...
yes.
The lady who brought the Beatles apart and took them all apart. I have trouble with English.
Can we please give her the credit for all the nice music that George made and Ringo made and Paul made and I've made since they broke up?
They were very strong friends. And I think they just outgrew the period that they were in. Especially for John, I can say that he's at least sort of outgrown, you know, whatever they were in, you know. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's very difficult for 4 artists who are so brilliant and talented to be together and do everything together, you know. I mean, just impossible almost. So whatever they were doing was almost miraculous, you know, that they were together at all.
But there was never any it's me or the Beatles sort of feeling. I mean, it was just a gradual coming apart.
That's true. It was a healthy growth, I think, growth out of the past.
After John Lennon's murder in 1980, Yoko Ono's relationship with the surviving members of the Beatles were marked by a mix of reconciliation, ongoing tension, and gradual estrangement, all of which was stoked by the tabloid press. Over time, Ono focused on preserving Lennon's memory through various projects and exhibitions, while her relationships with the group's members remained polite on the surface at least, but not deeply connected.
John Lennon was murdered. Did you hear from the Beatles? We all wondered who would come and who would write and what would they do and what would they say.
Well, I think they were all going through a very sad moment themselves. So I don't think it was necessary for them to particularly express it that way.
But did they write to you? Did they come to see you, any of them?
Well, some of them did and some of them didn't, but they all, I'm sure, felt sad and expressed it differently.
In a recently published excerpt from an upcoming book on the Beatles, Paul McCartney is quoted as saying some unflattering things about Lennon, remarking at one point that Lennon could be a maneuvering swine. Characteristically, the press played it up. Just as characteristically, Ono played it down.
The press wanted to have some fun. And we all have that experience of being used for that. And I think they wanted some statement from me about it, and it would have been a public slashing, and it's just, I didn't want to do that. So I said, well, I'm sorry, boys, you're not going to get that. You're not going to have the fun, you know?
Paul, I can't imagine that he wanted this to happen at this time either.
Well, I'm sure he didn't, and I'm sure it's a very strange kind of karma, whatever.
You have become very practiced at showing love and turning the other cheek, haven't you?
I'm sure that we made a lot of mistakes as well. Well, I know that we made a lot of mistakes. And from those mistakes, if we don't learn that other people can make the same mistakes too, then I'll be very, very foolish. I don't know, sometimes I think if I could change my whole life, I mean, there's so much that I want to change. Well, maybe I shouldn't have got into this whole situation and you know, and then sort of I met John, who was a Beatle, and then there was a lot of problems there, etc., right. You know, and I went through all these problems, you know, I think, oh, maybe that was not right. Are you still in touch with Paul, George, and Ringo? Well, we own a company together, which is called Apple. And so we have to operate it together. Well, we have to sounds negative. We are operating, and we're doing a very good job at it. So many times we discuss things, and we're doing a good job.
I read that you were upset that Paul McCartney, on his new album, he'd switched the credits from Lennon and McCartney, as they've always been, to McCartney and Lennon. And I mean, did you do anything about that? Did you sue him over that, or? No, I mean, suing is not my style, really. I would really prefer not to do that, but I think it was a bit strange, yeah.
Do you think that he's trying to rewrite history by doing that?
Well, I don't know what he's trying to do, but I mean, you know, he just wanted to do that. Maybe it was a joke, I don't know, but it doesn't change the credits, you know. I mean, the legal credits, just still the same.
Did it upset you?
I was shocked a bit, but then I thought, well, you know, all of us have some kind of quirk.
How do you think John would have taken to that?
Or maybe he might have been a little bit more expressive than me.
Paul McCartney came out and cleared the air a little bit and said, look, you know, for those people
that
who
was very sweet of him to do that. I'm sure that, you know, he got tons of letters saying, how dare you say that? I mean, you know, because they like the idea of us being in a boxing ring, you know, sort of fighting.
Also, it's good to have, people like having someone to demonize, people like having someone to blame, you know, and you were the easy target, I guess.
Well, you know, we know each other for such a long time, and he's a very sensitive and intelligent guy, so of course, you know, he understands what was going on, that it wasn't going on.
But what are your thoughts? Do you believe Yoko Ono was the reason that the Beatles broke up? Or was she just one of many other factors? And also, what accountability should John Lennon take on in how things unfolded?